gotta love it.
You gotta love it. Yes, man.
Come on. To all our viewers back at home, welcome to another exciting and brand new episode of
Lead Now.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You see, when I hear those claps, it tells us we're on the right track. Yeah. Just in case you don't know, this amazing show is all about highlighting all the significant and major aspects around the concept of leadership. We have to acknowledge Dr. John C. Maxwell and the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And I think we haven't introduced ourselves yet. You know, I'm so excited about this episode because, you know, I want to prioritize on the topic, yeah? Nedzina langa de Rendani Tshivhula, a.k.a. Rendi, your number one MC, and I'm never alone.
I am Anton Venter.
There we go. We should get a sound effect for that. But to jump on it, we mentioned the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And right now we're on law number 17.
Yes, we're moving, eh?
We're moving. And I think we must celebrate these small wins, which is quite good, you know. And it's the law of priorities. I think this one is going to be quite touchy to me, because I need more advice than giving away on this one. But I'm willing to learn, because you can never stop learning. Anton, law of priorities. Let's jump straight into it.
The reality is that we are all busy.
Yes.
Okay, so and in this world where we are, there are some days where we are more busy than others.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But unfortunately, busyness or activity does not necessarily equal accomplishment. You know, so if we really look at our time and our use of time, then quite often we waste time.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're really honest with yourself and you go look at your day, so if you had to record the 24 hours that you have in a day, and you look at those 24 hours afterwards, you know, there are some hours that you have no control over, like when you sleep or go to the bathroom or shower or drive to work or work.
Yeah.
But there are times that you control. Yeah. So at the workplace, you're in control of your time. After work, you know, when you get home, you're in control of time. So that time is in your hands. And if we really look honestly at how we use that time, then we realize that actually we don't attach enough value to time. So when I really decide in my life what's really important and really valuable, then I start making sure that I spend time on those things.
Yes.
Right. You know the tithing concept, how people pay tithes.
Yeah, at church.
So it's a biblical concept of you must give a tithe. Okay, so you must give 10% of income. It's not just 10% of your income. It's 10% of your time, because your time is more valuable than your money.
That's never highlighted.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Part,
you know, and that is where priorities come in. So as a human being, I need to have certain priorities in my life that I put up there that should be non-negotiable. And those are the things that should get the best of my time, if I put it that way.
I always use this word. I don't want us to romanticize the topic. I want to say I can identify with this, all right? There's so many things that one does. Some would say one is good at them, you know? And so many things one wishes to accomplish because you feel that you're gifted in various areas.
Yes.
Now, how do I identify which ones to prioritize, to choose correctly, to make number one, you know, especially if I'm good in all of them?
Well, let's first look at the theory part before we apply it practically to our lives.
Okay.
So in theory, to get your priorities right. So your priorities is the order of importance of doing things. That's what it is. So I'm supposed to do my most important things. Spend most of my time on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you typically look at three things to find those priorities. So to find what's really important, the first thing is, it's called the 3 R's. And it's not reading, writing, and arithmetic. The first one is required.
Okay.
So what is required? What must I do?
What must happen?
Yes. Now, my wife is good with that. If you say to her, you must go do this and this, she says to you, the only thing that I must do is breathe. Okay.
A shout out, yeah.
But so the first thing you do is you find out what is required.
Yeah.
So what are the things that I have to do? Okay. Because there are some things in our lives.
100%.
Okay, the second thing is I list the things that I say, what gives me the greatest return? So if the time I spent, what's going to give me the biggest return?
So it's like an ROI for time.
Yes.
Return on investment.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So in my list, I will first write down the things that I must do.
Yes.
Then I will list below that the things that gives me the greatest return. And after that, the things that brings the greatest reward. So those are the fun things that has been.
I like that. I've never looked at it in that way because, I've always thought of, you can always answer these short timely, know. What do I need now? What do I need now? And you confuse it. But this creates prioritizing in your mind as well. But, to answer those questions, I also need to know what is important. And how does one actually decide what is important in life? Because there's so many important things. There's circumstances that pop up. It's just life is never as sweet as we think or we theoretically put it on paper.
Yeah, now you're on the topic of personal leadership because that's really what it's about. So the first step is I need to take charge of my own life.
Yes.
Because I must lead my life well. That's a first principle. So when I develop priorities like that, I first have to look what is really important in my life. And my mom used to have this saying where she said, let the peace in your heart be the judge.
Come on.
Don't know about you guys, but yes, I've got a wise mom.
No,
My mom's given me
your
these
mommy
few...
deserves a round of applause. Yeah.
Throughout my life, she's given me like these little sayings, that I can attach to. Like people are more important than things.
Yes.
And let the peace in your heart be the judge.
Come
That's
on.
another one.
Shout out to you, mommy. Shout out to you. Yeah.
Anyway, and she will watch it as well. She's together with my wife, she's my biggest fan. So it's like her. But anyway, so let's get back to it. So when I have to decide what's really important in my life, that's the first thing. I got to let the peace in my heart be the judge on the things that's important. I got to look at what really matters on a personal level first.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to make sure that the things that is most important on a personal level are looked after. Like for me, my first priority is my relationship with God. Okay, my second priority is my family.
Yes.
Right, and that's how it's supposed to be. And when it comes to family, my wife must be a higher priority than my sons.
Yes.
Okay, because that relationship we're going to leave. My sons are both out of the house now. Can't believe it. That they went so quick.
Time flies. Yeah.
Now it's me and Joni.
Yeah.
Understand? We're now in our golden years, and we are going to walk this road through till death do us part,
Till
which
platinum
hopefully
years.
is far away.
Yeah.
But the point is that is a priority, and that's more important than work. So if I die, I'm telling you, a few days into, I won't even be cremated yet, and they already have someone else to do my job. Okay. The place where I will leave the hole is in people's hearts.
Come on.
That's how it's supposed to be. So people are important. I must prioritize people. And the people closest to you are the most important ones. That's very, very, very important. Okay. So since I left my job, now talking about, since I left the school where I was working, and I went over to start the School of Leadership, right, I had to prioritize a few things. So there's a lot of different ideas that come across your path.
Yes.
So people come to you, they know now that you have certain skills and what you can bring to the table. So guys come to you with, you must try this, you must try this, you must try this. And should I apply all the things that came across my table, then I will be spread so thin. Understand?
Yeah.
So part of the whole way of formulating the priorities in my career is I need clarity. There needs to be a very clear clarity of purpose in terms of my mission. What am I trying to achieve in my career? So in whatever job you have, you need to know exactly why are you there, where are you going, what's your role and your responsibility. And then you need to spend your time on that. Don't let the little jackals pull you apart into all other things. So find your core business. And then you spend your time on your core business. You need to find out, what are we trying to achieve? Okay. And then when you engage in activity, you got to ask yourself, will this activity enhance my business or will it distract me from doing my business? Because it's all about, at the end of the day, it's a battle for your time. That's what it comes down to. That's what living is. So the whole time there's this battle. There's these things that's trying to pull me away, and there's these things that I'm supposed to be doing it. And I've got limited time. And I've got to use that right. That's what priorities are about.
Priorities about time. And I've learned time has to be respected. I've been taught the harsh way as well. Yeah. But, learning is learning, and that's what counts. Now, one of the key people I admire the most in my life, have taught me, I haven't wrote this down because my maths was never really good. So when I bring in stats and percentages, I want to be accurate, all right? So he taught me to focus on 80% of my efforts on the 20% of the most important things. So it's an 80-20 balance.
Yeah.
I want to get your view around that. You know, well, how does that go about? Because I'm
That's
still
what happens
learning
anyway.
that as well. I haven't mastered it yet.
It's called the Pareto principle.
Yes.
So what it does, the 80-20 principle says that you are going to concentrate 80% of your efforts on 20% of the things.
Sure.
So there's 20% of the things in your life is going to take up 80% of your effort.
Yeah.
Now what the law of priority is saying is it's just saying make sure the 20% is the right 20%.
Come on.
So don't put that 80% of effort into the wrong 20%.
Yeah.
So that's where the priority is coming.
Yeah.
So identify the 20% of the things that's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit your business, that's helping you to achieve, that's going to benefit your team.
Yeah.
And then you put your powers into that 20% because that's going to give you 80% return.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I put all my efforts into the wrong 20% of the things, then I'm going to get 80% of the return on the wrong things.
100%.
And the things that doesn't really matter is not going to get the return.
That's true.
And that's why it's so important to determine for yourself what is really important.
Yeah.
So today I have a list of things. You know, that's something I learned from my dad. Right. My dad was extremely good with this. He had these lists. So he had little pieces of paper with the things that he wrote down for the day. So he would walk around with this little list, everything he has to do today. You know, and then as he does it, that night he will sit and he'll cross it off. It gave him such a feeling of satisfaction. I've done this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
So following on from that, my wife taught me how to apply that to my world. Because when I was teaching, I didn't need a list like that. Oh, yes, I did because I had responsibilities and stuff, but it was all school related. Now that I'm in the world where I am now, I've got 3 different areas of responsibility. And there's projects happening in these 3 different areas. And I need to make sure I get the stuff done. Yeah. So I've got for every day, I've got 3 lists under the 3 different columns. Yeah. And I list there on each one what needs to happen. Some of them only needs to happen in a week's time.
True.
But some of them needs to happen now. So I will write for each day, these are the things that needs to happen.
Yeah.
If I didn't finish it today, I'll write it again for tomorrow. Okay. But I make my lists.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I work through my lists.
Yeah.
Because I need to plan.
Yes. Yes.
If I don't plan properly, then I'm not going to achieve what I'm supposed to. In actual fact, that is one of the topics that you love teaching people on. It's about the 5 Ps.
100%.
Please tell us about
I was
that.
about to jump into it. And as I'm about to get into the 5 Ps, I think it's so important to be organized when you prioritize. And interestingly enough, O comes before P. All right? But let's go into the Ps. All right? So it's preparation prevents poor performance. All right?
Proper, yeah. I thought that's only 4.
I see you.
Proper preparation.
Yeah.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's so important. If you're not prepared, your performance is limited. You're not structured. You don't reach maximum efficiency. You know.
It reminds me of that one quote. I don't know if it was John Wooden that used to say, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." Yeah. So
but be such a powerful letter. It's powerful. I mean, come on. And that's the thing. You have to prioritize. And I know after having looked at people like yourself, you know, I always say I look up to people who I admire who are progressing because it shows that there's a sense of planning, there's preparation, there's order. It inspires one to become like that, especially if you know that you're admiring to become something great. You can't just get it with the talent. You can't just get it with the gift. No matter how good you are at things, you need to be organized. You need to plan. You need to do things properly because if you don't, you create limitation. And once priorities are distorted, it can ruin your entire life.
Yes.
It really can destroy oneself. It causes a lot of depression when you ignore what you need to prioritize on. And I think this was such a very powerful thing. In summary, this discussion, the law of priority, what's the message you want to leave the viewers with?
I want to say, make sure you use your time properly.
Yeah.
So proper use of time comes after priorities.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to do that. And to do that, what I would like to suggest to you is when you do that choose list for the day,
Yes.
also make your little list of what you have to do. Okay. So typically, piece of advice, write down the 6 most important things that has to happen today. 6 of them. Start with number 1, finish it. Yeah. Then move on to number 2, finish it. Yeah. Then move to number 3, finish it. Okay, you might not always get to all 6, but tomorrow you will find that the number that was number 4 today is now number 1 tomorrow. Yeah. And that is how you work through it. So just take 6. and work on those 6 and make sure I finish them consistently.
100%.
Okay.
And I wouldn't wrap it up in any other golden way. Remember, when you prioritize, you'll be powerful.
Yes.
I think that's a wrap to today's episode. Once again, a big shout out to Dr. John C. Maxwell and the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And you were still tuned into this amazing show called
Lead Now.
As we're wrapping it up, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yes, man.
We've hoped you've enjoyed this episode of Lead Now, proudly brought to you by the School of Leadership Africa. Please remember to follow us on our social media. You can find us on Facebook at the School of Leadership and also on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SoulAfrica_ZA. Thanks for tuning in.